Welcome to this explainer. Long before farms, supermarkets, or restaurants even existed, humans faced one relentless challenge every single day: finding food. Today, we're taking a fascinating journey back in time to see exactly how our ancestors conquered that challenge. We're talking vulnerability, incredible innovation, and the literal birth of the skills that built the modern world. Let's explore how the brutal reality of early human hunting fundamentally shaped society.
Okay, let's dive into this. Think about it. Today, when we get hungry, we just hop in the car and head to the supermarket, right? Or we tap our phones and order delivery straight to our living rooms. It's an unbelievable luxury. But humans used to face a completely different reality. Their primary, all-consuming challenge, literally every single day, was just finding food. It wasn't some quick errand. It was an absolute matter of life and death.
Section 1. The Daily Survival Challenge.
To really understand our ancestors, we've got to look at the very baseline of early survival. In the beginning, early humans survived simply by gathering whatever fruits, edible roots, and plants they could find. And this foraging lifestyle was no joke either. It required deep, complex knowledge of their environment. They had to know exactly what was safe to eat, when things bloomed, and where to track them down across huge stretches of land.
But what happens when plants just aren't enough? Imagine the stakes when a harsh season arrives, when a brutal winter sets in or a massive drought dries up the land. Plants alone just cannot provide enough food. The gathering lifestyle was incredibly vulnerable to the whims of the weather. Our ancestors faced starvation. They desperately needed another way to survive.
Which leads us to Section 2, the dangerous first hunts. So, to avoid starvation, early humans had to make a massive, incredibly risky pivot. They began hunting animals. And at first, this was extremely dangerous. I mean, think about it. They had absolutely no metal weapons, no bows, no traps whatsoever. They were stepping into the wilderness alongside massive, lethal predators, relying strictly on sharp stones, wooden sticks, and just each other. The odds were totally stacked against them.
Because they lacked advanced weaponry, they had to rely on pure, raw endurance. It's a grueling strategy known as persistence hunting. Basically, they would chase animals for hours upon hours across scorching landscapes. They would just keep going, tracking and running, until the prey became too physically exhausted to escape. It was the ultimate test of stamina against the wild, only moving in to catch the animal when it literally could no longer run.
Next up, Section 3. The Hunting Tool Revolution.
But here's the thing about humans. We don't just endure, we invent. As humans became more skilled, they started inventing significantly better hunting tools. First, they moved beyond basic sharp stones and sticks to create stone-tipped spears. This was revolutionary because it allowed hunters to attack from a safer distance. Then, millennia later came bows and arrows, which made hunting highly accurate and far, far less dangerous. Because out in the wild, distance equals safety. This technological leap was an absolute game-changer for human survival.
Section 4. Shaping Early Human Societies. Now, this is where things get really fascinating. Hunting changed way more than just how people found food. It actively forced humans to work together. They had to learn how to communicate complex ideas quietly and plan ahead. Groups had to develop intricate strategies, assign specific roles, and learn from one another out in the field. Actually, a lot of historians believe these exact skills, communicating, planning, strategizing, helped shape the very foundations of early human societies. The hunt was literally our first classroom for civilization.
Moving on to Section 5. More than just food.
And the innovation certainly didn't stop at social structures. Over time, hunting heavily influenced everyday life, especially when it came to clothing and shelter. Every single part of the catch was utilized. Animal skins became warm clothing, which is exactly what allowed humans to survive in colder climates and eventually migrate across the entire globe. Meanwhile, bones and horns were turned into specialized tools and even more weapons. This accelerated our overall technological progress far beyond just the hunt itself.
Section 6. From hunting to farming.
Eventually, of course, the world shifted again. Thousands of years later, as farming developed, people learned to grow crops and domesticate animals. This meant they no longer depended entirely on hunting for their daily survival. But because it was so deeply baked into our history and our social structures, hunting actually remained a hugely important part of many cultures and traditions worldwide.
Today, while most of us are privileged enough to buy food instead of hunting for it, it's absolutely wild to think that our ancestors survived for thousands of years specifically because of this remarkable skill.
They pushed through terror, they innovated entirely new technologies, and they learned to cooperate flawlessly. And it all began with one simple, urgent goal: to find enough food to live another day.
So it leaves us with a pretty massive question. If our ancestors hadn't been forced by the brutal realities of nature to communicate, strategize, and plan ahead just to survive the hunt, would human civilization as we know it even exist today? It's pretty incredible to realize that the teamwork we rely on in our modern lives was forged right there, in the heat of a prehistoric chase. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep exploring the amazing history that shaped who we are.